Yeah, let me introduce our company and my team inside it. So, our company is Security HQ. We provide MSSP services and security services to different companies all over the world. We have customers on USA, Asia, Australia, UK, Middle East, Africa, and so on most of the continents. Um, and we have a large development team here, and we're hiring some people too. So for developing internal and external portals and tools that are used by our team that we provide to customers, the main product is platform.securityhq.com. It's a web portal for our customers to provide results of our work and to interact with our teams and to provide services to the customer. So it's a large, based on microservices, but right now we rebuild it to other architecture and to move it to more modern architecture with replacing everything there with front end, back end, and so on. And we're looking for DevOps engineer who will help us to build automatic pipelines and to support them. We need to build pipelines around front end, back end, around all the installations for prod and for development instances. Also, we have plans to develop some testing platforms and so on, and demonstration one. So for this, we need somebody here. So can you please tell a little bit more about your DevOps experience and make accent here? And tell what you're working on, what's your experience, and what tools you use.
Okay. Thanks for providing me opportunity to tell me about myself. So, hi, I'm Ankit. I'm basically engineering graduate from Pune University, which is in India. So, I have like a CGPA of 8.29. After I get college placement in where I started working on AWS Cloud as well as DevOps tool. For the particular DevOps tool, like for the CI/CD purpose, I have worked on Jenkins, and I was responsible to build pipelines for environment like dev environment, test environment, and for that I have written the CI/CD pipelines with the help of Jenkins, as well as I have integrated tools like Maven, SonarQube with the Jenkins. And for the configuration management purpose, we are basically using Ansible, and for the operating system, we are using Ubuntu as well as Red Hat Linux. Apart from this, like I have good experience on Git and as well as GitLab. Also, I have experience on GitHub. So these are the SCM tools, source code management tool, that I have worked on. As well as apart from this, I have worked on Docker as well as Kubernetes. I get opportunity to work on Kubernetes from last 6 months, where I started working on where I started writing Kubernetes deployment files, a manifest file, as well as service manifest file. And for the Docker purpose, I have written multiple Docker files so that our application can build images itself within the pipeline. So these are the tool I have worked on. As also I have worked on AWS cloud, and on particular AWS cloud, I have worked on AWS EC2, then S3, then like EKS cluster, as well as auto scaling, application load balancer. And so these services I have worked on. Apart from this, I have also worked on VPCs, and for the IAC tool, I have worked on Terraform. So these all tools I have worked on.
Okay, thank you. So now a little bit detailed about some tools that we use. Our stack is slightly different. We use Bitbucket for storing code and for version control, but still we use the same Git client that you have for GitHub, and differences are there. So there is a small difference between GitLab, GitHub, and Bitbucket. So I think it's not a problem. Also for automating CI/CDs, for automating pipelines, we're looking for internal tool inside Bitbucket, they have some specific tool to do it, and we're looking around it. But again, same, you just need to build the right YAML file for working on it, and everything will be how to say similar with Jenkins, in fact.
Yes.
So for yes, we don't have anything right now for configuration control, but we're looking for some solution. Maybe this will be Ansible or something else. And also we use Docker containers and Docker. Right now we again looking for Kubernetes to control it and to manage it, but still we need experience, somebody who experienced in building Docker files with environment and so on. And production one is situated in AWS, where we use different type of hosts, different values, and so on. So, okay, so let's start with the first one with Git. So, about your experience, what actions you do, how you connect it to pipeline, what's commands, and a little bit more what's project you manage by it, and what's you
Okay.
do.
So basically, we have one repository for the developers. So developer will write its code in feature branch, and he will like we have created one CI pipelines for the developer. So developer will put his feature branch in that particular CI, and he will try to build that code. If that code fails, like we have integrated JUnit for the unit testing, as well as we are following like quality gates with the help of SonarQube. So if the that particular code is not following proper security gates, then that CI pipeline will get fail. So after successful build of that particular CI pipeline, then only developer can merge that code into main pipeline of his repository. So from this part, we are taking that code like we have set polyscm for the taking the code from the developer's main pipeline, and inside Jenkins we have written the pipeline for the like testing, integration testing, as well as checking the quality gates after also pushing that particular build to our artifactory, as well as we are also building a Docker file out of it, building a Docker image out of it. Then we are pushing that image to ECR repository, and where we are also scanning the that particular image. And again, we have written like a Kubernetes deployment file, which will deploy the application to the Kubernetes EKS cluster. So these stages we have uh, written inside our pipeline. Shall I explain everything, or shall I?
No, just something general one, a little bit more about the.
Git.
It's not, yeah, about Git. What commands just inside pipeline do you use something? And maybe a little bit more about Jenkins. Do you write some configuration file or use Jenkins interface to build CI/CD pipelines?
No, we are basically writing the Jenkins file, which is again written in Groovy syntax. So we are basically writing declarative pipeline for Jenkins. In that particular, we have mentioned all the stages, as well as all the parameters, as well as like all the credential that we are storing as a secret inside the credential section
Mhm.
of Jenkins. So we are following this approach to write a Jenkins pipeline.
Okay, and okay, let's go a little through tests. So, uh, some about your experience and so on about connecting unit tests and functional tests to the pipeline. So, what you did there and just how you configured these tests.
Okay. Okay. So basically, like for the testing purpose, we have another testing team. So like we have created the SonarCube server, as well as like Maven. We have Maven server, which is running on EC2 instance. So we have integrated that Maven server with our Jenkins server, basically. Jenkins master basically, and we are using that. So whenever we are testing the unit testing, that at that purpose we have like using Jenkins directives to call to that particular Maven server for the testing purpose. And same for the Sonar Cube, we have on a separate EC2 instance running dedicatedly for Sonar Cube, and we have integrated that Sonar Cube with the API tokens, which is basically a personal access token to get connect to Jenkins passwordless connectivity for. So we have integrated that Sonar Cube server inside Jenkins master, and with the help of Sonar Cube plugin, as well as with the help of Jenkins directives, we are basically sending the code to Sonar Cube server, and Sonar Cube server check with that code and provide the feedback to the Jenkins master.
Okay, and about some more complicated testing, and just about testing, do you set up any thresholds there, or just if any of tests failed,
Actually,
building
I have
stopped?
set up only the server, but for the checking, like writing test cases and all other purposes, we have a separate testing team for that purpose.
No. It's not about test cases. It's about results of tests and processing them. So do you set up some specific logic on the test results just to continue with pipeline, or to stop building, or to do it here? So
Like if test result is above 95% code qualities, we are basically accepting that particular code, and for that purpose we have written a particular conditional statement inside our Jenkins file.
Okay, it's good. Now a little bit more about your experience with Docker and Docker files. So can you please provide few examples of what Docker files you write for applications, what type of commands you use there inside it?
Okay, so basically I have worked on two projects. In that particular, I have worked on Node.js as well as I have worked on Java file. So for the purpose of Node.js, I am basically using npm, which is Node Package Manager, and for the Java purpose, I have using Maven. So actually, we have integrated Maven inside the Jenkins file. So we are basically directly getting jar files, which is get after like a build file after building Java based project. So we are getting that jar file. So I have written the pipelines to deploy this application inside a container with the help of that Java jar file. And for that purpose, like I have work on Docker file components like from, then run, then maintainer, as well as copy, then add. Also, I have work on like CMD, then entry point, then expose, as well as I have worked on environment and volume. So these are the all Docker components that I was using to write a Docker file.
Okay. Yeah, it's not so complicated there. And what's about Docker files for environment? And do you familiar with Docker Compose?
So basically we are using EKS cluster. So I don't have much exposure to Docker Compose, but I know little bit we can directly deploy multiple containers with the help of Docker Compose, and we write basically YAML file with the name Docker Compose.yaml, and in that particular YAML file we specify all the ports that are needed to communicate. We can mention all the networks that we need to communicate between containers. So we are basically using that. We are writing that inside a compose file, and after like Docker compose of command, all the containers will get up. We also mention the images for that particular containers inside compose file.
Okay, thank you. Now about so it's about Docker about this one. About your Linux skill, do you have experience in administrating some Linux instances? You mentioned Ubuntu and Red Hat, but how much work you do inside them, or you mostly work only around pipelines?
for like Linux, right?
Yeah, for Linux.
Okay, okay.
Better for Red Hat distribution.
Okay. So basically, we are like actually I have work on POC, like a proof of concept of like Jenkins, updating the Jenkins master. So for that purpose, I was using Linux, and like I know the some commands to for Linux. Commands can be like a df, du. So I have work on this kind of command.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, thank you. And about troubleshooting problems, do you have any experience for searching for looking problem? Maybe you can provide a few examples how you found problem on CI/CD or some instance and how you solve it.
So mostly problem that I'm getting like inside the CI/CD is like whenever at the end of month that particular personal access token will get expire. So basically at that point I was taking the new token from the SonarCube server as well as like another server that we have integrated inside Jenkins,
Mhm.
and we are pasting that token inside credential section so that uh, for the particular month it will run flawlessly.
Okay, okay. And about your experience with AWS. So you mentioned that you worked with EC2, VPS, and so S3 and so on services, but few examples of what instances you created for what purpose and how you manage them and what you do with them.
Okay. So in the previous project, where our application basically works on auto scaling group. So we have created auto scaling group as well as we have attached application load balancer. We have created a node group inside that application load balancer, and we have set some listener role inside application load balancer. So that whenever request comes from route 53, whenever request comes from internet, at that time our request will go to the particular EC2 instance, and means it will balance the load. Application load balancer will balance the load and it will send to auto scaling group, where we are basically using the like a stage auto scaling policy. So whenever their particular load will get, so we are basically like auto scaling that particular EC2 group of EC2 instances automatically. So I have worked on that particular, and we have launched this all inside a particular VPC.
Okay. Okay. So thank you. Now, if you nice to have, it's not mandatory skills, but will be good if you know it. So a little bit of your experience. Do you have any experience with some scripting programming languages? Do you have experience in writing some scripts on Python, on Perl, on any PowerShell, maybe some other type of script?
So for the scripting, like I have work on YAML based scripting as well as Groovy based scripting, and even for the Docker files, I have work on Go language scripting, and like also
Mhm.
I have not worked on Python yet, but I am definitely planning to learn Python as well because it is mandatory and good to have for like DevOps skills.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, yeah, as I said, it's nice to have, so it's not mandatory, but just for some automation and for something else, it will be nice. Bash scripts, maybe, or some other type of scripts.
Yeah, I have worked
Yeah.
on shell scripting as well.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Uh, Next question about SQL and some SQL databases. Do you have experience with it with SQL language? Maybe you write some queries and some
Actually, I have like
maybe some
integrated
databases.
RDS
Yeah.
databases, more specifically MySQL databases. And for the querying, like I don't have knowledge writing the queries, but I definitely means I know how to like how to get to that particular answer with the query. And for the MySQL purpose, like I have worked on like taking the backup of the databases, and for that purpose I have worked on MySQL dump utility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, it's nice. We use not a MySQL, we use PostgreSQL, but Yeah, tasks can be something like make a dump or something near it sometimes to just to catch there, but it's not the main responsibilities. It's more about to supporting the production installation. Sometimes our DevOps working on it too. Okay, and about working inside. Just about working process, and I see you work with Jira and as a board, so on, and tickets and service now. So do you work in some framework like Agile, Scrum, and so on, or it is something like Waterfall?
So basically, we are following agile methodology, and in that particular, we are basically like we are taking one particular feature and we are tackling that feature inside the particular time sprint. Which is called sprint again. So we have some meetings as well as like a daily stand-up meeting in the agile methodology, as well as we have planning on that particular sprint planning meeting, which is held like in 2 weeks, per 2 weeks. So we have a sprint size of 2 weeks, which is basically 14 days.
Mhm. Okay, okay, thank you. So I think it's all questions from my side. Maybe you have some question about position, about company, about work.
Yeah. So currently, on which tools you are basically expecting from me to work on?
Yeah, right now the main tools that we use and to work on is Docker and creating help to create Docker containers. Mostly our developers create them by themselves. We need to integrate them to Bitbucket pipeline tool, but it's again some similar to Jenkins YAML file where you run and make some action there. So it's working with some test servers and the AWS instances. And what else? And developing, we also just our technology stack is PostgreSQL, Redis, Python backend, and Node.js Angular framework frontend. Uh, and also we use Elasticsearch for storing some data and working with it, but it's just need to administrate to install it and know how to install the right containers from the pipeline tool. So it's the main stack right now, but later we will enhance it and we have some plans to add the additional things and so on. And inside our platform, we have I think something near 12 different directions. And for each of them, there will be required different pipelines for production, for development, for something else. They can be crossed by some functionality, but this is a different part of the systems, different, we call it domains with different functionality for our customers that provide some tickets, that provide reports to customers and so on. And we need different pipelines, different stacks there to work with and so on. So that's the flow. Okay.
Okay. So that's about me. Like I don't have much questions, further questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but still, yeah, position is how to say, we have one DevOps right now, and he just overloaded so this position to help him. Also, this will be nice because we previously have other stack, and he right now switching to new one to microservices, to Docker containers, to AWS, and he is still learning too. That's need some experience, mostly in AWS, Docker, and these technologies just to build a troubleshoot and to run with it. Something like this. Okay, then. Thank you very much for the interview.
Okay, thank you very much for
Have a nice day.